Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna be reading booktuber's 5-star reads. So basically what I mean by this is I've literally just found people like booktubers or people who talk about books in some of their videos. Basically what I did was I went through Goodreads and I found their 5-star reads and I'm going to talk about them today. So I'm gonna talk about them in order of least favourite to favourite, and there's 5 books. So in 4th place we have, I don't have the physical copy because I didn't really like it. I knew I wasn't gonna read it again and I gave it away to a friend, and that is All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. This was Larry Reed's pick and I am just looking to the side to look at my computer because I've got my notes up on there. So it's definitely my least favourite by far. There's a heavy miscommunication trope which I really didn't like, at least in my opinion. Like, I would say it's a miscommunication trope. Really didn't like it at all. Let's see if I can move this any closer to the computer. There we go. So basically this follows a couple called Quinn and Graham as their marriage has hit a bit of a standstill. You go back in time to when they first met and watch them fall in love, and then you're back to the current timeline where they're trying to fix their marriage. I did find the main character kind of annoying and mainly just felt bad for the main male character, which is her husband, Graham. And I've honestly forgotten a lot of what actually happens in this book, mainly because I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't find myself really wanting to pick it up very often. I didn't really like it. I gave it 3 stars. Honestly, I think I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. It's definitely one of my least favourite Colleen Hoover books, and yeah, it just definitely wasn't my cup of tea. In 3rd place, I read this on my Kindle, so again I don't have the physical copy. But in 3rd place is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This was Georgia Richards' pick. This book was very much like British Gossip Girl vibes to me, and I know that a lot of people say like this isn't like a healthy cute romance. It is very much like some of the characters are toxic, some of the things they do are toxic. I rated this a 4, but I feel like when I read the next few books in the series I'm really gonna get into it. But I did like this book, but I feel like if I didn't know that everyone says that the next books, well, a lot of people that I see say the next books are better. I feel like if I didn't know that, I probably wouldn't pick up the next ones. But I really am excited to read, I think it's Daisy Hates is the next one in the series. So yeah, I feel like because I really enjoyed this world, and I really enjoyed the world, I like getting to know the characters, but I'm intrigued to see where it's going to go now. So I am excited to read the next one, and I'm really sorry if you can see like the light reflection in my glasses, but there's like literally nothing I can do about that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I will definitely be reading the 2nd book in the series. I really think I want to make that one of my reading goals for the rest of the year, is to read the next book in the series. But I know so many people love this series and I don't quite understand the hype just yet. But again, I think there's 5 books in the series now and I've only read the first one. So I'm gonna give book 2 a chance and really see if, like, one, I do want to see where the story goes, because I don't think the first one really ends on a cliffhanger, but like the ending is very like, okay, right, I need to know what's happening next, if that makes sense. In 2nd place we have Ghosted by J.M Darhower, and this was Sarah Caroli's pick. I say pick like they didn't actually choose it, it's the one that I've picked and assigned like to someone, if that makes sense, based on their 5-star reads. So this was like a second chance single mum romance and I really loved it. I rated this 4.75, which is the highest rating so far in this video. So this follows young actor Jonathan, who's very famous but has been struggling with addictions for a long time. Throughout the book we're trying to see him make amends with Kennedy, who is his ex-girlfriend and the mother of his child. They ran away together after high school, but after a little while Kennedy ended up moving back home and then found out she was pregnant. There's an alternating timeline, so we get to read through Kennedy's diary from when she and Jonathan were teenagers, which I really loved. Yeah, you basically watch their relationship from beginning to end, and you see like how they got together, and then you also see why they broke up and why she moved home. The alternating timeline, we needed that, and we needed to see like what happened and all this and that, so I really enjoyed that. Again, I rated this a 4.75. I loved this. I read this on the Kindle again, so I don't have a physical copy for it. I really loved this. I loved watching Kennedy and Jonathan get into contact again, and I loved watching him. It is dual perspective, so I'm pretty sure from memory it's dual perspective, so you see like when they're back in touch, you see everything from Kennedy's point of view, and then you also see it from Jonathan's, which I really loved. I feel like it was quite necessary to the story to see each character's thought process throughout the whole like situation that's going on, and I really loved it. Would definitely recommend this book, and I think it's my first like second chance romance as well. I don't know, like other books that I've read, I'm not 100% sure if they count as second chance romance or not, but so we have joint first place for the last two books, and are we ready for it? Are we ready for it? So these are Ava Jules' 5-star read and Sophie Jane's 5-star read, and that is As Good as Dead and Powerless. So we've got As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson and Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Absolutely love these. So we'll talk about As Good as Dead first. So this is the third book in the A Good Girl Guide to Murder series, and actually the TV show came out 2 days ago, which I started, and I am really confused, honestly. I kind of feel like I don't know whether I've forgotten certain things that are happening or whether they've actually changed how certain things happen, or I've forgotten, or they're adding things in and taking things out. I'm not 100% sure. I kind of feel like I need to reread the series. Yeah, so in the first, this is the third and final book in the series, so this kind of wraps everything up. This is the final case that Pip investigates, and then the story just concludes with this one. So in the first two books we follow Pip's investigation into missing persons cases in her hometown of Little Kilton. In the third book, she's haunted by how her last investigation ended. Then threats from an anonymous person escalate to real life, and Pip starts to connect the dots between her anonymous stalker and a serial killer that was caught and put in prison years ago. Pip tries to solve one last case before she moves away for university, but this time she could end up the victim. I loved this. I rated it 5 stars. I loved the town, I loved the characters, and even though it was like quite a thick book, I think, ignore how bad the sun damage is on this one, I felt like I was flying through it. I think it's about 500, yeah, so it's 557 pages long, which is definitely on the longer side for me. I do kind of prefer books that are around 300 pages, just because I feel like they're quite thick, and I feel like 350 is around like the sweet spot, especially if I'm reading a physical copy, which I did obviously for this one. I have the physical copy here, I read it here, and as you can see, like, it is quite a thick book. However, I felt like I was flying through this. When I say when I was about halfway through, I was flying through this, and I did actually get this when it was first published, and then I started it and I ended up DNFing it, which sounds kind of crazy to me because I love this so much and I loved the whole series. I just think when I first read it, I wasn't in the right mood for it, and that's when like I figured like I really am a little bit of a mood reader. I think you'd say this counts as mystery. I wouldn't really say it's a thriller necessarily. I'd say this is more mystery, and this is YA, so if you're, you know, younger or you like reading YA, I would definitely recommend this, although obviously it does follow missing persons and murder cases. I loved this, and I really want to read The Reappearance of Rachel Price, which is by the same author, because I just love the writing, and I love how in these books everything, when Pip records her interviews, I'm trying to find an example, but when Pip records her interviews, okay, so this is like an example, is there's actual like documents, and then there's like images, if that makes sense, that are printed. I'm trying not to give much away here, but I don't have the first book to hand. I really loved that. I feel like it made it feel more like a movie, if that makes sense, but in a good way. Obviously this has been turned into a TV show. I don't know how many, I don't know whether there's only going to be one series of the TV show and it's all condensed into one, or whether it's going to be like a season per book, if that makes sense. Not 100% sure, but I love this author. These books are hyped up for a reason. I actually ended up reading this one over my birthday this year, and it's funny because 3 years ago I was reading the first book over my birthday. So I absolutely love this, and I would recommend. Like I said, I rate this 5 stars, which now makes it the highest rating of this video. Again, you can't get higher than a 5 stars, but this would 100% recommend. And then we have the book that was so out of my comfort zone. I've never read romantasy. I've read a tiny bit of fantasy when I was a kid, and by that I mean is I read literally one book that was kind of fantasy. So this was like really out of my comfort zone. I really wanted to delve a little bit into romantasy, and of course it is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I just want to take a minute to show you guys how beautiful the cover for this is, and of course sprayed edges, so absolutely love this. I finished this book. I think I've read 3 or 4 books since I finished this book. I have not stopped thinking about this book. In every book that I've read since, I'm still thinking about this one, and for that reason alone, as I'm rating it 5 stars. I originally, when I finished it, I think I rated it a 4, but because of the fact that I cannot stop thinking about it and wanting to read Powerful and Reckless came out yesterday, and I really want to read them, I did struggle a little bit with picking this up. But again, I feel like it was because I've never read romantasy before, so it was my first time getting into it. But also, yeah, I just feel like it was because I'm not familiar with romantasy or fantasy in general. Like, I really just read romance and then kind of just like coming of age and like just like general teen, like YA, and then mystery thrillers. That's like what I read. This just, it was out there. It was like I basically was looking for a romantasy book, but I wanted it to be one that is raved about. I wanted to kind of like know a bit about the book to make me want to read it, if that makes sense, which is why I went for Powerless, because this has been so like hyped up and talked about on social media and YouTube as well. This was Sophie's pick. I don't know if I forgot to say, but As Good as Dead was Ava Jewell's pick. This was Sophie Jane's, and I honestly just, I want to be in this world. Like, pick me up, put me in the book, because there was so many times where I forgot that I was reading. Like, it's just, I feel like once I got about halfway in, that's when I like got sucked into it, and I was just like, okay, I don't want to put this down. And I read the last like 200 pages really quickly, and I'm just so like, what the fuck, like, what is happening? This definitely gave me Hunger Game vibes, because of the trials, like gave me a bit of Hunger Game vibes. But I will read the blurb because I'm not about to try and explain this myself. So Only the extraordinary belong in the kingdom of Ilya. The elites have possessed powers for decades gifted to them by the plague, while those born ordinary are just that, banned from the kingdom of Ilya and shunned from society. No one knows better than Paid in Grey, an ordinary posing as a psychic to blend in with the elites. When she unsuspectingly saves one of Ilya's princes, Kai, she's thrown into the Persian trials, a brutal competition showcasing the elite's powers. If the trials and the opponents within them don't kill her, the prince she's fighting villains for will discover what Peyton is, completely ordinary. So this is book 1 in the trilogy, and I actually didn't realise it was going to be a trilogy. I thought it was going to be a duology, but mainly just because I obviously hadn't read on the back where it says, be swept away by the first in the epic and sizzling fantasy romance trilogy taking the world by storm. Didn't read that bit when I first got the book or up until now, but yesterday Lauren Roberts, who's the author, actually posted saying she's got a big announcement coming today, probably to do with book 3. So very excited about that. I hope the cover is blue, because this one's blue, this one's purple, Reckless is red. I'm hoping the third one will be blue, because Powerful, which is the novella of this book, it's this story but told from a different character's perspective, I'm pretty sure. So they run at the same time, whereas this is the first book, Reckless is the second. And Reckless is just so beautiful. I wanted to get it yesterday when it came out, and my boyfriend actually got it for me, and he got the sprayed edges, the works edition. They're gorgeous. I will insert a video of it to show you guys how gorgeous it is in case you haven't seen it, but the works is only £5. I rating this a 5 stars. Also made me want to read more romantic, so if you have any book recommendations, people who like Powerless, please leave them down below, because I need some more. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this video was, one, obviously I love like reading books that other people recommend and enjoy. Also wanted to read some of my physical TBR because it's a big one, honestly. Only 2 of the books that I read for this video. There is a few other books that I have that I might do if I make this a series, so if you guys are interested in me doing a part 2 for this, let me know, because I think I could do that. I do have some other ideas of books to do for it, but I hope you guys really enjoyed, and I will see you guys next week.